Welcome. I'm going to share a couple of things that have helped me to finally unwind in the evenings and create a routine that I can stick to most days. I'm only going to share a few things. They're very simple and they're basic. That's because I encourage you to keep things simple. A lot of times we think we can create these evening or morning routines. Maybe we've seen somebody have these fancy routines on TikTok or YouTube, or we read a book or something, but it's really difficult to go from not having any kind of routine or routine that doesn't serve you to having this full-on routine of all these things you're supposed to do. Guess what? It's more than likely not going to happen. That's probably why you've tried many times. Maybe you do it a couple of times and that's it. It's just too much. We're not into trying to take leaps here. We're about building bridges. So we're just building a bridge from where you are to where you want to be. So a couple of simple things that have helped me to unwind at the end of the day. First one is to stretch. Now this sounds really simple. Like I said, these are simple and basic things, but hear me out. This is why this is so effective. Most of us throughout the day are very much in our heads. We're thinking a lot, maybe we're worried, even if we're working, obviously we're using our head and we're not in our bodies. And that's why doing something that's physical, it's like an embodiment practice that you're creating. You're connecting back with your body, and that helps you to shift from this energy of kind of overstimulated and overthinking back down into your body. Also, a lot of us work sitting down all day, or even if you work standing up all day, either end of the spectrum, stretching is one of the simplest, most powerful ways that you can give your body back what it needs after you've been sitting all day or even standing all day or whatever it was you were doing. So what works for me is just getting a series of stretches and just create like a series of them, maybe 4 or 5 stretches that you do, and just start doing those stretches every day. Even if you have to start with just 2 stretches, or even if it's 1, and hold the stretch for a certain amount of time based upon whatever the video is that you find or you search online, or it's a stretch that you already know. Most of us already know good stretches. So that's the first thing, is to stretch. The second thing is to de-screen, but not for 2 hours, which is maybe what you've heard before. So in order to sleep well, it's very good for us to get away from these screens for at least 2 hours before we go to sleep. That's wonderful, and that is true, I'm sure. However, again, most of us cannot take a leap from being glued to our phones to all of a sudden 2 hours without our phones. It is not realistic. So instead, I say just try to get away from screens for 30 minutes. Go for a walk. That's an easy one. And don't look at your phone. Try not to look at your phone while you're walking unless you absolutely have to. Or read a physical book, or just do something else that's away from a television screen, computer screen, phone screen. 30 minutes. And then eventually you can maybe build up to 2 hours if that's what you want to do. That is people recommend it. But for now, just start small, start simple. And the very last thing is some type of reflection on the day. I found this has been really game-changing for me to feel like, I don't know, it just wraps up the day very well and helps me for the next day. To just take a few minutes and either journal. Journaling's another great way you can de-screen for 30 minutes. Maybe you want to write in your journal, but maybe you want to journal, or even if you don't want to write about it, think about it. If you know you're not going to pick up a journal and write about it, just have a reflection. What went well, what didn't go well, what would you do differently? How did you do in terms of what you'd planned to do for the day? Just take a few minutes. Don't put a high amount of pressure on yourself, like you're going to sit and write this grand thesis for a couple of hours, because we know that's probably not going to happen, and you don't need any more pressure in your life. I don't know you personally, but I can almost guarantee that. Anyway, those are the things that I say. These are 3 basic ways for you to create a routine to help you to unwind in the evening times. And you'd be surprised how much better you feel. In addition to those 3 things, eventually you can start stacking other things on top of them, like meditation. I've got tons of meditations here on YouTube that you can listen to, and hopefully they'll help you. I've also got journaling prompts. I have a video coming up with a bunch of journal prompts that may help you if you've ever wondered what you can write in a journal, and including some which are good to write at the end of the day. So stay tuned for that video. As always, thank you.